What the frick is going on, my fellow N-words? TastySnackies here, and let me just get this right out the gate. You cannot be canceled in Magic the Gathering culture. Believe me, I've tried, and unless you're someone like Jeremy from Unsleeved Media, where you kind of just do your thing and then fuck off and go do another channel, you can't really actually be canceled. Not in Magic the Gathering and not in anything in general, because being canceled by other people is their version of punishing you, and we'll be going into that later. So those of you who know the lore of this channel understand that not only do I make memes, well, used to make memes, I used to make videos too. I'm starting to come back making videos now, but I used to share my opinion a lot more, especially on Twitter, but I would share my opinion nonetheless, and that would create a lot of ire between a lot of other people on the internet. Not just content creators, but a lot of other people that don't like having their views challenged. And that honestly is what encompasses a lot of the canceling that you see on the internet, is people not willing to critically understand your thesis, your analysis, your opinion in general. They'll just try and excise you out of the community because they don't want to have to deal with you being so persistent and bothersome. And it's funny when you think about it, because you're not being persistent or bothersome. You're just sharing your opinion, especially on a public forum like the internet. When you share your opinion and you expect other people to react to you, you're going to get positive and negative reactions, and sometimes they may be overwhelming on both sides of the argument. But if you allow those people to let their opinions of your opinions consume you, then that's how you allow yourself to be canceled. If you look at other people's reactions about you and what you have to say, and you can brush it off to the side, or you can use that criticism to better yourself and your own opinions, then that's winning pretty much. And it sucks that you have to say that it's like winning or losing, but when you look at internet culture and discussing things on the internet, it's almost like a game inherently in the first place. It kind of sucks that it has to be like this, but that's just kind of how the world is right now. And I don't see it changing at any time soon. It's just been slowly progressing to this point, years after years after years of people just dunking on each other over stupid statuses and trying to ratio each other on social media has gotten to the point where almost nobody has anything of value to say back and forth to each other besides, "You're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong." So let's go over some examples. Okay, we'll start with me. The most recent example, I brought this up in my most recent video. Back last October, my race bannings of Magic the Gathering. Now, if you look at the like to dislike ratio, it's almost even. And I haven't seen any stats like that since my Desolator Magic video that I made, almost 5 years ago at this point. And for good reason, because I brought up some controversial points, and I was a bit of an ass in that video, but it got reactions nonetheless, a lot of negative reactions. I had a lot of people calling me racist on the internet after that happened. I might have it in the background back here, but there was the series of comments on my YouTube video from people on Twitter where I had some fucking spurg just repeat racist over and over again because people weren't willing to critically analyze what I was saying, even though, you know, it may be a bit egotistical of me to say this, but I was right, because I was essentially pointing out absurdity of these other people's claims of things that they don't understand. And in turn, their defenders came out and called me racist because I was challenging the new status quo that these people are trying to set up. They're trying to maintain this new standard of white guilt and just this weird social justice dichotomy of one race of people isn't allowed or validated or allowed to be validated, while another is because of past histories and past transgressions. And when you use the excuse of past transgressions and past atrocities to eliminate anyone else's viewpoint in this new standard, essentially saying like, you can't criticize us because of what you did in the past, is akin to saying you're not allowed to say our specific word, but we're allowed to. They're both the same thing. They're both racist. And that was the biggest contention point of why I just don't use Magic the Gathering Twitter anymore, or Twitter really anymore at all, to be honest, because social media is becoming this weird cancer where it's just this endless echo chamber of no matter which side of the argument you're in, you're just trapped in this echo chamber of thoughts just repeating over and over and over again. And no one is willing to actually hear out the other side. They just want to be right for internet points and internet validation, which is fucking pointless and stupid, honestly. And I just simply refuse to be a part of it, you know? And instead of letting it consume me and me just deciding to get deeper and deeper into the issue and, you know, standing my ground and being like, no, I'm right, blah, 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 I just decided to disconnect and delete my Twitter altogether because I'm just not going to deal with that shit. You know, it's bad enough that I use it as an outlet for my creativity in so much that I wouldn't do anything else with my life but work, come home, play video games, surf Twitter, argue with strangers, and that was my entire life. And honestly, it's pathetic. And seeing other people do the same thing constantly all the time is just as pathetic. And I understand that I may be acting like I'm holier than thou by saying all this, but you know, it's kind of true. If you take a break from that social media and you focus on your life around you, and then you come back to social media, you'll realize how fucking worthless it all is. So let's go over some other examples of cancellations. First off, Jeremy from Unsleeved Media, aka MTG Headquarters. He still makes some videos every now and then. He's gone back to what his channel originally was, and that's just opening Magic the Gathering product. But as you know, and as I know, he used to be the guy that would poke at the fire, you know, poke at the bear and anger people and have these not racy, but these controversial subjects and just bring it up and, you know, kind of stoke the flames a bit. He does that now with his quartering channel and he's successful at it. That's kind of his brand. But he was canceled from the Magic the Gathering community because of the Christine Sprinkle situation back in late 2017, and he never really recovered from that. I don't understand why. It might have been because it was the first true time in his life where he really pushed that envelope and people pushed back and he didn't like that. So he just decided to refocus his efforts on the quartering channel and kind of hone his skills of pushing the envelope over there more. But that's one of the prime examples where I can think of where you can get canceled from Magic. And I understand that I said at the beginning of the video that you can't be canceled, but you can't be canceled if you don't allow yourself to be canceled. Now, move on to the next subject, Travis Wu. This kind of falls along the same lines as Jeremy because he suffered from that same fallout. At around the time where Jeremy and the whole Christine Sprinkle thing was happening, Emma Handy, I believe, exposed, quote unquote, exposed Travis Wu's Facebook group, Magic for Bad, because there was a funny post in there that was a pack one, pick one of attractive women in Magic the Gathering, and Emma, you know, being all offended because I don't think she was on the list, and she was all offended. How dare they not do that for me? She decided to throw it on the internet, and everyone hated Travis Wu for a little bit. And he decided, you know, I'm going to peace out of Magic. I'm going to go do my own thing. He closed down that Facebook group because he just didn't want to deal with the drama. And you know what? I don't blame you. And now he's kind of like a self-help, you know, motivator type, and he makes videos about living on a farm and improving your life. And you know what? Good for him. Instead of being canceled, he evolved and he changed his content. Much like Jeremy from Unsleeved Media, he changed and he evolved in different ways. And the only true way that you can get canceled, again, I'm going to bring this up, is to allow yourself to succumb to those criticisms and to fade away. And if you do that, you're a coward. And another true cancellation are people like Connolly Woods or AJ Soccer or God, what's his name? There's a few other Magic the Gathering pro players who did some shit to other women, whether or not those allegations are true. With Connolly Woods, it was true because he got fucking arrested for it. But, you know, they had these allegations made against them, and then they just were completely excluded from the Magic the Gathering community. Some are definitely more deserved than others, you know, like Connolly Woods. But that's another true example of getting canceled, you know, because for whatever reason, even if those accusations aren't true, They just decide to succumb to those constant criticisms that might be the first time in their entire careers where they face against some sort of controversy like that, and they fold like a house of cards. And yes, it is pathetic. But besides that, if you continue to stand your ground and do what you do and share your opinion and not allow others' criticisms of your opinion to overwhelm and destroy your career over it, you can't get canceled. Anyways, my name's TastySnackies. You all been wonderful, and I'll catch you on the flip side.